What does it mean to be assertive? काफ़ी दफ़ा होता है, it's very usual that we're sort of हम दो तरीके के communication styles use कर रहे होते हैं. We're either too passive or we're too aggressive when we communicate with people. So हो क्या रहा होता है कि when we're passive तो हम चुप रह रहे होते हैं, हम नहीं एड्रेस कर रहे होते अगर कोई चीज़ हमें अपसेट कर रही है या अगर किसी चीज़ से it's hurting our feelings and we feel like we're being taken granted for or we're being taken advantage of, but we choose to stay silent because we fear being left alone or we fear being rejected. What if I say something that, what if I disagree in this particular situation and the other person leaves me or rejects me? How do I confront this person about my feelings and how this particular thing or this particular situation makes me feel? And on the other hand, जब हम aggressive हो रहे होते हैं तो फिर हम उस चीज़ को address करने का एक तरीका बहुत explosive तरीका जो है वो इस्तेमाल कर रहे होते हैं, and that usually doesn't end well. On both ends there is no solution that we're sort of moving towards. जब आप पैसिव हो रहे हो तब भी आप उस चीज़ को, उस एंगर को रिप्रेस करी जा रहे हो, आप उस चीज़ को एड्रेस नहीं कर रहे. You're trying to sort of stay silent through all of that, but उस repression की वजह से you're also experiencing a lot of resentment. And that resentment would slowly turn into anger, and then when the anger is slowly turn into something explosive, and then one day you're going to be like, okay, enough is enough, and now I'm going to speak up for myself. And then when you speak up for yourself, what will happen is that you will choose to communicate that conflict in a way which will be more emotional and less rational. And then again, what will happen is whatever you're saying will lose its credibility, and nobody's going to take you seriously because people are just going to think, okay, she's getting too emotional, बहुत जज्बाती हो रही हैं, तो maybe थोड़ा गुस्सा उतरेगा तो ठीक हो जाएंगी. तो आप, the entire focus shifts to shifts from your demand or your needs or what you want in a particular situation to how you reacted to it, all your emotions and all that angry energy and everything. So वहाँ से सारा focus वहाँ shift हो गया. In the end of the day, you're not achieving anything either. So what is the middle ground? How do I say things in a way that is more effective and appropriate, that communicates my needs, my opinions, and how I look at things, and at the same time not disregarding somebody else's opinions or views or how they see a particular thing. तो वो उस balance को assertive communication कहते हैं. That is how basically the essence of assertive communication is to communicate your opinions and your beliefs and your feelings in a way which is effective and appropriate without disregarding the opinions and beliefs and views of the other people involved. Okay, so let's take an example where, and it is very, before I give you an example, it is very, very normal and natural that you might be very assertive in a setting like, you might be very assertive at work and not so assertive at home. You have a hard time, expressing your feelings at home, but at work you know how to take control of what you want. And vice versa. So let's take an example where let's say one of your colleagues is out on a vacation, or your employer comes up to you and says, okay, you will have to put extra hours at work, and this puts a pile of paperwork on your desk and says this needs to be done as soon as possible, and you don't know what to say, so you stay quiet, but you know that you can't really do it in that short time, and it is giving you a lot of stress. And then you think to yourself that this is not my job description, and why should I do this? So जब आप चुप रहे वहाँ पर, obviously for whatever reasons, for very वैलिड रीजंस, जब आप चुप रहे तो आपने एक तो रीइंफोर्स कर दिया अपने एम्प्लॉयर का बिहेवियर के, यू नो, it's okay if you do this to me on such without asking me if this is okay with me or not, it's okay. And then and this will keep on happening again. Iska consequence ye hai ki this will happen the second time, the third time, and then keep on happening you know, later on as well. So like, you know, एक point आएगा कि आपका burnout हो जाएगा, and you know, it will sort of become the unsaid job description that you never signed up for, and then you will experience burnout. And then when you choose to communicate it to your employer that this is not on, and you know, I am not paid for this, and this is not my job description, तो वो उस वक्त आप explosive तरीके से बात करेंगे and it will get you fired. So, and this is just a tiny example of how, you know, our communication pattern is very important in whatever we do. This could happen at home as well. You know, you could be a working woman and have a family as well, have kids and everything. और आधी रात को आपको के relatives की call आ जाए कि हम आ रहे हैं आपके घर और बैठते हैं और गपशप होगी, सब होगा. And it's 12 at night and you have to be at work in the morning. So what do you do then? You know, and then again you choose to stay silent. And then again it will happen the second time, the third time, the fourth time, and one day you'll be like, ये कोई तरीका नहीं है, मैं नहीं कर सकती. I have to be at work in the morning and I have to get my kids ready before that, and I have to manage, I have other commitments as well. So आप ना करें इस तरह से, और फिर एक झगड़ा फसाद होगा और फिर you know, बात वहीं की वहीं रह जाएगी, where you're not sort of you know, expressing what you want, but you know, लोग आपके complacent behavior को या आपके compliance को देखते हैं as you know, a thumbs up. Okay, everything's fine, we should keep on doing that. So there it becomes very important to recognize that, you know, okay, I need to break this pattern. And then you decide that, okay, from now on I'm going to start you know, talking about how I feel, how this certain thing makes me feel. You see, you can never decide, you never get to decide how the other person chooses to communicate with you. But you can always make a decision that how you choose to communicate with other people, how you choose to voice your opinions, how you choose to you know, find that voice and say, this is not okay. You need to be a little considerate about what I want as well. So अब फिर यहाँ पर सवाल आता है कि okay, so you know, आप इतने टाइम से assertiveness के बारे में बात कर रही हैं, so you know, कैसे, like you know, क्या पहले तो ये चीज़ recognize करना कि आपको ज़रूरत है assertive होने की is very important. How do I tell my boss that he needs to give me a raise? Or how do I tell my boss that you know, this job is underpaying me? And how do I tell my friend who makes very insensitive jokes that this affects me, this hurts me? Not make those jokes, you know. How do I open up to my spouse about things that are you know, that about my deepest insecurities? How do I open up to my spouse about those things? How do I ask him, you know, that he needs to contribute into the relationships on emotional level as well, because now I am experiencing problems, I feel neglected, or whatever, you know. These are just really small examples, but you know, these things can happen in a number of ways. So all of this, how do I do that? So being assertive, you can be assertive in a number of ways. So, you know, a good starting point would be to start asking for things, start demanding things that you think, you know, are important to you, and asking for little favors, making little demands, and, you know, asking to be accommodated in certain things, and being okay with it, accepting that, you know, as an equal human being, it is your right to get these things, whatever you're demanding, or whatever your demands, if you feel like your demands are being denied, if you ask for it, you deserve it. If you believe in it, only then anybody else will take you seriously as well. So that is a good starting point. Uske alawa, you can learn to say no. It is very important to learn how to say no, how to refuse favors when something is not fitting in, when something is hard for you to accommodate. So yeah, so you learn to say no, and you do it in a way that is not offensive, and that does not disregard somebody else in what they want from you, or what their role in that dynamic is, and you refuse कि I'm sorry, आज मैं आपकी मदद नहीं कर सकती क्योंकि मेरी और commitments हैं, या फिर I'm sorry, ये चीज़ possible नहीं होगी because मेरे working hours ये हैं और इन working hours में ये काम possible नहीं है. तो आप इस तरह करके आप you learn to how to refuse certain favors or certain demands as well. And then acknowledging and expressing positive and negative emotions. So what do we mean that we need to acknowledge and express our positive and negative emotions? So when I talk about positive emotions, you need to be expressive about your joy. You need to express your happiness. You need to learn how to compliment others generously and be confident about it. That is how you're asserting yourself as well, because you're expressing yourself, you're expressing how you feel, and that is the essence of it, that you're expressing how you feel about a certain thing, whether that's positive or negative. When it comes to negative emotions, it could be resentment, it could be conflict, it could be confusion, if it could just be the desire to be left alone. And then when you acknowledge it, that I this right now I need to be left alone, and I need some me time, and I just need to process things, and you're asking for it, without it becoming something huge, and then you fall back into the aggressive pattern of communication. You're addressing it, and that is how you're asserting yourself as well, because you felt an emotion, you felt resentment, you felt that you need to get out of a situation, and you asked for it. So that is very important as well. And then uske alawa you can start a conversation with somebody, you can lead a conversation, contribute to a conversation, give your perspective, take somebody else's perspective, और उस चीज़ के बारे में, and if अगर कोई conversation ऐसी है जो आपको uncomfortable feel कर रही है, तो you feel that you don't need to be talking about this thing, this is too triggering for me, yeah, you don't agree with it, the strength and the courage to terminate that conversation or express your point of view and have a healthy debate maybe is you asserting yourself. So if I were to talk about the step-by-step guide to the assertiveness communication or assertive ways of communicating, though I would say that the most important thing that you need to know is that what is your range of acceptable behavior. Now that I know कि अच्छा ठीक है, मैं ये वाली चीज़ें मैं कर सकती हूँ और ये मैं नहीं कर सकती, now I need to know how to describe it to the other person. मैंने ये तो देख लिया कि मैं क्या चीज़ें किन चीज़ों के साथ comfortable हूँ और किन चीज़ों के साथ comfortable नहीं हूँ, मेरी range of acceptable behavior क्या है, but now when I'm going to describe it to the other person, it needs to be more objective and less emotional. Instead of saying, and this is where being assertive comes in directly, कि मैं बहुत overt तरीके से assertive हो रही हूँ कि I start using I statements. Instead of saying that you did this thing that sort of hurt my feelings, I make it about myself. And what I'm trying to do here is कि जब मैं कहती हूँ कि मुझे बुरा लगा जब ये चीज़ हुई, या मुझे ऐसा महसूस हुआ कि मैं कि मेरी नीड्स का कोई ख्याल नहीं करता जब आपने कुछ भी कहा, तो उस वक़्त I am giving power to my emotions. I am acknowledging that I felt a certain way, and I am validating my feelings as well, that they're valid and I felt a certain way, and I would appreciate it if you next time when this happens you're more considerate about it. So when I'm using the I statement, I am sort of ending that blame game that you did this, and मैं इस डिबेट में ही नहीं पढ़ूंगी कि किसी और शख्स का क्या मोटिव था कोई बात कहने के पीछे, या कोई एक सिचुएशन या कोई एक झगड़े में ऐसी कोई बात हो गई जो नहीं होनी चाहिए थी, और फिर उसके बाद क्या हुआ और उसने उसकी इंटेंशन थी कि नहीं थी, मैं इस सारी चीज़ में पढ़ूंगी नहीं. मैं ऑब्जेक्टिव रह के मैं अपना आई हैव टू पुट माई पॉइंट अक्रॉस ऑब्जेक्टिवली दैट दिस थिंग हैपेंड, इट मेड मी फील लाइक समथिंग sad or angry or neglected or not seen. Like I don't feel, for example, you can tell your partner that I don't feel seen by you. Sometimes I think that you don't see me for who I am, and it's just and it bothers me. So instead of saying that you neglect me and you're never home on time and आपको कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता क्या हो रहा नहीं हो रहा, आपको मेरी परवाह नहीं है, etc etc. आप what you can do is कि I feel this way. So I would appreciate it if next time you start considering this problem and we could deal with this in a way that could be a win-win for both of us. So this is what we need to move towards. And then when you express these feelings, when you take the responsibility for your feelings, when you take the responsibility for that situation, for your part of it, उसके बाद what you need to do is कि आप ये भी define करते हैं. It's being assertive. I need to clear this up. Being assertive, there's a very fine line between being assertive and aggressive. It does not mean that you become the stubborn person जिसको सिर्फ हमेशा they need to get what they want, otherwise they're not interested in that setting or environment or whatever. Being assertive means that you are willing to do the work as well. You were willing to make the change, the effort that needs to be there as well. आप जब ये define करते हो कि आपको ये चीज़ बुरी लगी है, आपको इस चीज़ में you felt a certain way, you felt that your rights were being denied or you felt neglected, then you also define very clearly that what are the changes that you need made. लाइक आप क्या चाह रहे हो कि किस तरह इस चीज़ को चेंज किया जाए, आप वो भी एक्सप्रेस करते हो, आप वो डिफाइन करते हो क्लियरली. कोई भी जो भी आपका सिग्निफिकेंट अदर है, आपका एम्प्लॉयर है या कोई भी है, आप उसको ये चीज़ क्लियर करते हैं कि दिस इज़ हाउ आई वुड लाइक फॉर इट टू बी नेक्स्ट टाइम एंड दिस इज़ गोइंग टू बी माई रोल इन मेकिंग दिस बेटर. दिस इज़ गोइंग टू बी हाउ आई चूज टू contribute into this relationship or this arrangement of ours, and this is what you will be doing, and together I hope we can sort of find a healthy way out of it. So आपने एक तो express कर दिया, आपने overtly भी express किया, covertly भी express किया कि आप कैसे feel कर रहे हो, आपने ownership ली अपनी feelings की, आपने ownership ली how a certain thing made you feel, and उसके बाद आपने उसको power दी क्योंकि आपने आई स्टेटमेंट यूज़ किया. आपने किसी और पे ब्लेम डालने के बजाय, आपने किसी और के मोटिव्स को क्वेश्चन करने के बजाय, आपने वो पूरी एक साइकिल शुरू करने के बजाय आपने कहा कि ये चीज़ मुझे इफेक्ट कर रही है, लेट्स फाइंड अ सोल्यूशन देयर. देन अगेन यू asserted yourself. उसके बाद इज जस्ट यू कीप ऑन प्रैक्टिसिंग. हर छोटी बड़ी चीज़ में कोई भी डिसीजन है आपको जिसमें है कि शायद आपका assertive होने से कुछ फ़ायदा हो सकता है, देन यू स्टार्ट बेबी स्टेप्स. यू स्टार्ट टेकिंग बेबी स्टेप्स के ओके टुडे आई एम गोइंग टू बी assertive about this के this how do I sort of handle the situation in a more effective and appropriate way where my needs are met and I am not stepping on somebody else's needs as well. And from there आप gradually अपने आप को उस साइड पे लेके जा रहे होते हैं जहाँ पर it becomes easier to sort of hold your ground or take up that space that is yours, and it becomes easier to just demand what is yours, be that in workplace, at home, with your in-laws, anywhere, with your friends. Next time when a friend makes that insensitive joke about somebody's height or somebody's complexion and everything, you can always tell them that, listen, when you say things like that, it really hurts my feeling, and I think next time you should be more considerate about it while saying things that are very insensitive, especially when it comes to somebody's appearance. एंड दैट्स इट. कोई झगड़ा, कोई फसाद, किसी चीज़ की ज़रूरत नहीं है. आप पैसिव नहीं हो रहे, आप रिप्रेस नहीं कर रहे उस एंगर को, वो फ्रस्ट्रेशन में तब्दील नहीं हो रहा, एंड यू आर ऑल्सो नॉट बिकमिंग अग्रेसिव. कोई लड़ाई फसाद नहीं हो रहा और आप उस चीज़ को एक्सप्लोजिव तरीके से करने के बजाय यू चूज़ टू हैंडल इट इन अ मोर सिविल वे, इन अ मोर हेल्दी वे फॉर यू एंड फॉर द अदर पर्सन, एंड दैट्स हाउ assertiveness works. Yeah, that's about it. I hope this was helpful for all of you, and I hope I was successful in bringing a little change in your lives.